there's things he can do that I've only seen a few people do. He is one of those guys who, from what I've been told, has taken on the leadership role very seriously. He's letting his performance speak for itself first, because you know that's what gives you credit in the locker room. Okay. And the players are buying in. They're seeing him do this stuff. They're seeing him be in the facility, first guy in there, working extra after, asking all the right questions. He's always with Andy.
Can Patrick Mahomes be a better quarterback than Alex Smith? Absolutely. The physical gifts are there. He's got a stronger arm. He's probably a bit more, even more mobile than Alex Smith, who's a hell of an athlete.
If you want to think about what Brett Favre was, he was an ad-libbing, gun-slinging, giant arm, tons of moxie quarterback. That's what Pat Mahomes is. There's no footwork there, but man, he can throw the freaking football over the mountains.
Now Pat Mahomes is the starting quarterback there. The expectation level, you heard Veach say it there, one of the best players he's ever seen. It is through the roof.
You better be able to play some defense against Kansas City, or they're going to light you up like a slot machine.
He has extreme ability, extreme arm talent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he has high football IQ. He can be a little mad scientist IQ because he will try things that you just can't try. He has been in one of the smartest systems in the league. He has explosive playmakers. By the way, you don't think he picked up stuff from Alex Smith, one of the smartest guys in the league? This kid's ready to play.
I do think the expectations are really high for him right now, but I do think he can also reach them at some point.
For the next 2 years, even if he struggles, he is going to be a wild experiment.
You will tell your kids about watching this guy throw when you think about the most electric arms you've ever seen.
To Tyreek Hill, and look at him! Tyreek Hill, game-breaking speed, touchdown, Kansas City.
This is the Richard Smith Show, where we talk about all things Kansas City Chiefs. How we doing, Chiefs Kingdom? It is Sunday, March 31st at 11:17 a.m. Let's talk Chiefs. First off, how'd you like that introduction? There's a reason for that introduction. That's going to lead me into what I want to talk about. First, Patrick Mahomes. There's been questions of the sophomore slump, and is Patrick Mahomes going to go through it, such as quarterbacks like, what was that guy's name in Washington? Gosh, I can't even remember his name now. Hey, that's how bad it was. Griffin, yes. Robert Griffin III. Is there going to be a sophomore slump? I want to put that conversation to rest right now. Right now. And I want to start off by saying that doesn't exist in the Mahomes blood. Not at all. I want to kind of give you a brief overview of some statistics throughout Patrick Mahomes' career in football, and we're going to start at the high school level, where he started all 4 years, mind you. Patrick Mahomes threw for 8,458 yards, 96 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions in his career as a 4-year starter at White House High School. I love those numbers. And then 15 interceptions for 4 years. Yeah, that's great. It's great. I love it. I should have said something right there, which it did to everybody in White House. So then the man goes to Texas Tech for 3 seasons. He just throws for 11,252 yards and 93 touchdowns. Did you hear that? 11,252 yards and 93 touchdowns in 3 seasons. This man has been a beast since the day he stepped on the football field. And although those numbers are all impressive, what has he done the first year in the NFL? Thrown for 5,097 yards and 50 touchdowns. 13 interceptions. Year 1 as a starter. That's almost half of what he threw for in 3 seasons at Texas Tech. So, if I'm going by a person who's being rational and looking at the production that Patrick Mahomes has put out his entire life and how it has stepped up greatly each level he has gone to, I think that it's going to be no mistake to anybody that Mahomes is going to have a better sophomore season than his freshman rookie season, which really was not his rookie season, but his first year as a starter. So actions speak louder than words, and I believe Patrick Mahomes has shown us what he can do. And do your research. Watch the kid in high school. Look at the stats. Look at the progression. He has some of the best masterminds in the history of football in his corner. That coaching staff that we have in Kansas City is unreal. Look, we're very, very fortunate to have what we have right now and have a quarterback that we have right now. Because what you do with a kid like Patrick Mahomes, you don't change a Patrick Mahomes. You build your offense around a Patrick Mahomes because you look at the production that he's had doing what he's doing his entire life. Why would you change it? Don't change what's not broke. Just put weapons around him. The kid's an all-star. Sophomore slump, not going to happen. Not going to happen. Moving on. Okay, so Bashaud Breeland, the Chiefs signed Bashaud Breeland. That was a good, really solid pickup, considering Kendall Fuller is on the other side of the field, including the acquisition of the Honey Badger. So our secondary really has taken a turn for the better. And the last month, there were some huge question marks there with letting go Eric Berry and D. Ford and Justin Houston. Now look, the linebacker core is still in question, and we really do have some depth. I think you all would be surprised as to what our defense is going to do, this coming up year. But my only thing is, okay, and our defense was a mess last year, a mess. And really the reason for it being so bad is look at all the players that left the year before that we replaced. Derek Johnson's, Tamba Ali's that we replaced. There are so many new pieces to this puzzle. I mean, they didn't have any time to mesh. So then we get rid of the last bit of our leaders this year, and then we bring in other new players, and we expect them to mesh together. So the leadership on our team is there, just not as far as length of time on the same team, which is huge to me as far as a leadership role and who the coach trusts. Not that he doesn't trust the new players, but come on, with time and experience in one system, under one coach, there's a sense of trust and a sense of leadership. And we don't have that on the defensive side of the ball at all. So we are expecting somebody to step up and fill that role really year one. Because let's be honest, I mean, there's really not any leaders coming back from last year. I look at Chris Jones as a great player, but not really a leader. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I haven't really heard anything about him stepping out, as a voice of the defense like an Eric Berry. Look, we're going to go through a rough transition on defense, but the good thing about this is we have such a solid offense. And the way I look at it is if we get Steve Spagnuolo and get his system in check and we get everybody on the same page, it just has to be a little bit better than it was before. So I'm hoping that that'll put us over the hump, and then the next 2 years after this will be a lock-in for the Chiefs, possibly a three-peat in the Super Bowl. That's what I would really love to happen, and I think that we're right there. So, moving on, Chris Jones. Chris Jones expressed interest in staying in Kansas City for his entire career. Look, I love the enthusiasm the kid has. I love, his passion for Kansas City, and that's great. And I hope that he continues to, produce the way he has on defense. But I want to tell you this, Chris. Here's the deal. I say this a lot. It's a business. And if you think you're going to stay on the Chiefs' defense your entire career, I don't know if you remember what happened less than a month ago, but Justin Houston, Eric Berry, and Dee Ford. I'm not sure if you remember the year before. Okay, and there was a couple players that got cut to bring you on. Derek Johnson, Tamba Ali. So, in this day and age, it doesn't matter.
Hey, Casey.
All right, sorry about that. I had a little interruption and had to cut off the broadcast for a second. But back to Chris Jones. Hey, look, bud, I really hope that you keep producing the way you are and doing big things in Kansas City. I also hope, with the upcoming draft, we get another linebacker or two to really support your side of the field, because you're going to be a big anchor for us, and we need somebody to complement you in the linebacking core. So, with that being said, I want to address Jadeveon Clowney. Okay, so while we're talking about that, they say that it seems like Kansas City would be the perfect landing spot for Jadeveon Clowney. Now, I agree with that. I think that would be an awesome acquisition, and we would light up the board on defense. Do I think it's the smartest move that we can make financially? Not really. I feel like that we're going to take the salary of Eric Berry and Justin Houston and put it into one player and scrape by on our salary cap. How we can make that happen and solidify our defense, I'm not sure if we can. Will he solidify our defense? Possibly. Is that a risk that Brett Veach is willing to take? Possibly. We'll see what happens with that. That's a very, very interesting situation and scenario, and I'm interested to see how that plays out. And honestly, if it's going to play out, it needs to play out before the draft. It only makes sense. You need to know where your salary cap is exactly when you go into the draft, so there's no question as to what you can pick up, what you're looking for, how much will be left in the cap after the draft. It's going to have to happen before the draft, and it makes sense. And also, Andy Reid stated that it wouldn't surprise him a bit if another huge acquisition was made by Brett Veach before the draft. Because I believe we're sitting at, $33 million in cap space right now? It might be a little bit more. I'm not quite sure. But I think we'll get another, 7 to 11 million, June 1st on the Eric Berry release. But there's a date that has to hit before that will be free and clear. But I don't really think that matters as far as what the Chiefs are doing as far as acquiring players, because I don't believe that any of that will kick in until a certain date either. So, with all that being said, I think Jadeveon Clowney might be a huge interest for us. Will we pull the trigger? Possibly. Does it make sense? Absolutely. The question is, can we put it all together? The Honey Badger, Jadeveon Clowney. What do you think about that? Kendall Fuller, Bashaud Breeland, Breeland Speaks, Dorian O'Daniel. Look, we got some Anthony Hitchens. We got a good chance, okay? You can't forget the names that we picked up last year as well. I have full faith in our front office, and this is going to be a great scenario for the Kansas City Chiefs. And if we pick up Jadeveon Clowney, look, it's over with. What are you going to do against Kansas City? The run, the pass, Chris Jones, Jadeveon Clowney, Kendall Fuller, the Honey Badger, it would be over with. I think that's the ticket. So I look forward to something big happening before the April 25th draft. So they have about 3.5 weeks to go ahead and get something done. And it's going to happen. I have this feeling, especially with Andy Reid saying there's going to be a huge acquisition, and it wouldn't surprise him a bit. So I think that would answer a lot of questions as far as the Chiefs' defense going forward if they pull off an acquisition like that. So I I look forward to this next month and what everything brings to the table for the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll see what happens. There's going to be an exciting month coming up in April that'll solidify a lot of things for a lot of teams and really see where we are in the grand scheme of things. So, Kansas City, you have a great week. I look forward to some great news coming up here because it is that time of year, and it's crunch time, honestly. It's crunch time in the NFL for free agency acquisitions to line up your depth chart for the draft. So, with that being said, pay attention to the news. Kansas City, you have a great week. I will speak with you soon. This is the Richard Smith Show. We talk about all things Kansas City Chiefs.